Hello Zenith women and welcome to the channel. Mystery isn't about hiding the truth. It's about letting people search for it and wonder if they'll ever find it. Sigma females embody this principle to a T. They move through life leaving a trail of baffled, intrigued, and occasionally exasperated people in their wake. These women aren't just misunderstood. They're practically from another dimension. With their unshakable independence, unconventional mindset, and quiet confidence, Sigma females defy every box society tries to put them in. They don't need the spotlight. In fact, they'd rather operate in the shadows, where they can observe everything without saying a word. It's the kind of vibe that drives people crazy in the best way possible. She's that person who doesn't just walk to her own beat. She's dancing to a song only she can hear, and the rest of the world? They're left scratching their heads wondering what makes her tick, why she's so unfazed by everything that would send the average person into a tailspin. Today, we're pulling back the curtain, just a little, to reveal the baffling behaviors of Sigma females that keep everyone guessing. Buckle up, because understanding her might be as challenging as finding a unicorn in a snowstorm. But it's going to be one fascinating ride. Number 1. They're a mirror to others' insecurities. Sigma females have a rare power that's almost magnetic but unsettling for some. They reflect back people's insecurities without even trying. Being deeply grounded in their own values, they don't chase after others' approval, and that quiet self-assurance naturally draws people in. But it's a double-edged sword, because the Sigma female's presence alone tends to unsettle those around her. For someone who secretly relies on validation, attention, or the need to feel important, being around a Sigma female can be almost uncomfortable. She's confident without effort, fulfilled without applause, and detached from the usual need to fit in or measure up. This can reveal hidden fears and insecurities in others, even if she never says a word about it. When people encounter a Sigma female, they often find themselves questioning things they've always depended on to define themselves, whether it's social status, popularity, or relationships. She has no interest in any of these markers, which makes others instinctively wonder why. It's like she challenges them just by existing. Without trying, she becomes a mirror, reflecting back all the layers people usually hide behind. For some, this is inspiring. They feel drawn to her self-sufficiency and find themselves wanting to adopt a similar independence. But for others, it's unnerving. It's as if the Sigma female's indifference forces people to confront the parts of themselves they'd rather keep tucked away. When they realize she doesn't need anyone's approval, they may start to see how much they depend on others' opinions. She doesn't expose insecurities to judge. It's just that her presence alone makes people face what they'd prefer to ignore. In a world that encourages comparison and social hierarchy, she offers a completely different path. And that quiet but profound difference leaves people questioning more than they'd like to admit. Number 2. They don't idolize romantic partnerships. Sigma females have a completely unique approach to relationships that often leaves others confused. They don't place romantic partnerships at the center of their lives, and they're not out there searching for someone to complete them. To a Sigma female, relationships are a choice, not a necessity. She knows who she is and what she brings to the table. She doesn't need a partner to feel valued or validated. This approach sets her apart in a world that often treats relationships as markers of success or fulfillment. She simply doesn't buy into the idea that her worth is tied to having a partner by her side. This doesn't mean she avoids relationships altogether. On the contrary, when a Sigma female does enter into a relationship, it's by choice, and it's genuine. She values depth over quantity, and she won't settle for a relationship that doesn't meet her standards of authenticity and connection. But even then, she maintains a fierce independence within that partnership. Her life, goals, and sense of self aren't up for negotiation, and she won't sacrifice them to fit into someone else's idea of a relationship. She doesn't lose herself in romance. She keeps her own identity intact, which is rare and even unsettling for those used to seeing people change in relationships. This independence can sometimes leave partners or admirers feeling unsure of where they stand. The Sigma female won't cling or become dependent. She's just as content on her own, as she is with someone. For many, this lack of traditional neediness is bewildering. To her, love is a partnership between two whole individuals, not a solution to loneliness. She isn't afraid of being alone, and that's a strength that makes her stand out, and sometimes leaves people wondering how she does it. Number 3, they speak through actions, not words. Sigma females communicate in a language that transcends mere words. Their actions speak volumes about who they are and what they value. While many people feel the need to articulate their thoughts and feelings, seeking validation or understanding through dialogue, the Sigma female remains unapologetically true to herself. She operates on the principle that her actions alone convey her intentions and beliefs. This approach can leave those around her puzzled, as they often find themselves trying to decipher the meanings behind her choices. In a world where explanations and justifications are commonplace, the Sigma female's silence can be disconcerting. When she makes decisions or takes action, she does so with a confidence that doesn't require validation from others. This independence of thought and action is both admirable and bewildering. Her ability to be comfortable in her own skin allows her to forge her own path without the pressure to explain herself at every turn. For her, it's not about being understood by everyone. It's about being authentic to herself. This unshakable conviction in her actions invites curiosity. People may question her motives or intentions, trying to grasp the underlying reasoning behind her choices. Why did she choose to walk away from a conversation? Why did she decide to pursue a particular project? For the Sigma female, these questions are often irrelevant. She knows that her truth is reflected in what she does, not what she says. As a result, she doesn't feel compelled to clarify or defend her decisions, leaving others guessing and trying to piece together the puzzle of her character. This way of being can challenge those who thrive on verbal exchanges and seek to understand the world through dialogue. Her confidence in silence sends a powerful message that true strength lies not in the need for approval or understanding, but in the ability to trust oneself. By living authentically and letting her actions define her narrative, the Sigma female teaches those around her the value of integrity and the power of living true to one's own principles without feeling obligated to provide explanations. Number 4, they're nonchalant about being misunderstood. Sigma females have an uncommon calmness when it comes to being misunderstood. While many people feel compelled to defend their character or correct false impressions, a Sigma female simply doesn't care. If someone interprets her actions, motives, or personality in a way that misses the mark, she's unaffected. Her response is, "Believe what you want." It's not arrogance, it's self-assurance. She understands who she is at her core, and other people's opinions don't alter that truth. This detachment from others' judgments allows her to move through life without the weight of constantly explaining or justifying herself. For most, the idea of being misunderstood stirs up discomfort or frustration. People usually want to be seen and understood for who they are, and they go to lengths to manage others' perceptions. But for the Sigma female, the need for validation isn't a priority. She's not in the business of proving herself or earning acceptance from people who don't get her. This isn't to say she's isolated or lacks emotional depth. Rather, her energy is focused inward on her goals, values, and personal growth. Her indifference to others' opinions often confuses people who are used to seeing validation as a social currency. When she doesn't react, it leaves them uncertain of where they stand. Some may even project their own insecurities onto her, interpreting her lack of response as coldness or superiority. But the truth is simpler. She's just comfortable with people forming their own narratives, even if those narratives miss the essence of who she truly is. In a world obsessed with reputation and approval, the Sigma female's calm acceptance of being misunderstood is both liberating and mystifying. Number 5, they create their own universe. Sigma females live by their own internal compass, creating a mental world that doesn't hinge on anyone else's approval. They aren't drawn to the typical markers of validation that others chase, like praise, social status, or public acknowledgement. Instead, their sense of identity comes from within, built on their own principles, beliefs, and ambitions. In a world where most people are constantly measuring themselves against others, a Sigma female's detachment from these external forms of validation can be bewildering. She seems free from the need for recognition, and this independence makes her seem almost untouchable. To the Sigma female, her inner world is a sanctuary. It's a place where she is both creator and navigator, crafting her life according to her own rules and standards. She's comfortable relying on her instincts and intuition, even when they lead her away from mainstream expectations. This isn't because she's rebelling or trying to be different. It's because she genuinely feels at home in her own mental universe, which holds more meaning for her than anything others could offer. She values authenticity and growth, not popularity or applause, and this self-containment baffles people who can't imagine feeling whole without outside validation. Her freedom from public opinion often draws others in, not just because it's rare, but because it's magnetic. People are drawn to someone who doesn't need their praise to feel worthy. Yet, this independence can also intimidate or confuse those who rely heavily on social validation to feel secure. They wonder why she seems so unaffected by the opinions of others, or how she can be so self-assured without constant approval. To her, living freely in her own universe is natural. To everyone else, it's a mystery they can't quite unravel. Number 6. They're intensely private but captivate attention. Sigma females carry an air of intense privacy that sets them apart. They're not the type to lay everything bare or let people into their inner world easily. Instead, they carefully control what they reveal, keeping much of their personal life concealed. It's not secrecy for the sake of secrecy. It's a deeply rooted sense of boundaries and self-protection. They value their solitude and know that not everyone deserves a front-row seat to their lives. This approach is intentional. It's their way of maintaining a sanctuary of thoughts and emotions that belong solely to them. Yet, paradoxically, it's this very reserve that draws people in. By choosing privacy, Sigma females create a powerful mystique. People are intrigued by what they can't see, and the mystery surrounding the Sigma female acts like a magnet. It's human nature to want to uncover what's hidden, and with Sigma females there's always an unspoken sense that there's more beneath the surface than meets the eye. Her presence commands attention, not because she tries to stand out, but because her self-contained nature leaves people curious and even captivated. This reserved allure is something that few understand. Many attempt to break through her shell, trying to see what's beneath her calm exterior. Yet, Sigma females rarely indulge this curiosity, keeping their true selves known only to a trusted few. This doesn't mean she's cold or disconnected. Rather, she's protective of her energy, choosing carefully where to invest it. For those who respect her boundaries, this privacy becomes part of her charm. And for those who can't handle the mystery, her reserved nature remains an enigma, something fascinating but just out of reach. Number 7. They make their own rules in relationships. Sigma females approach relationships in a way that defies most conventional expectations. Their relationships are driven by a unique blend of intensity and independence, qualities that can feel contradictory to those who are used to more traditional relationship dynamics. She values deep connection, but her idea of closeness isn't about dependence or control. It's about shared experiences, respect, and emotional freedom. While she is fully capable of commitment and loyalty, she refuses to compromise her autonomy or reshape her identity to fit into someone else's life. This blend of intensity and independence often leaves partners, friends, and even family members unsure of how to navigate a relationship with her. In most relationships, there's an unspoken expectation of togetherness in almost every aspect of life, where boundaries blur, and a certain level of dependence is considered normal. But the Sigma female challenges this model, seeking closeness without encroachment, depth without demands. She won't rely on someone else for her happiness or self-worth, nor does she expect her partner or friends to alter their own lives to suit her. This way of relating can be confusing for those who are accustomed to relationships built on mutual dependence. They may misinterpret her independence as aloofness, assuming she's not as invested or that she doesn't care as deeply. But the truth is, A Sigma female's love runs deep. She simply sees relationships as a partnership between two complete individuals, not a merging of identities. For her, maintaining her sense of self is crucial, and she respects and encourages the same in others. People who try to control her or expect her to fit into a traditional mold of relationships often find themselves at a loss. A Sigma female's love doesn't follow familiar rules, and her partners and friends either adapt to this freedom-based dynamic or find themselves bewildered, unable to grasp how closeness can coexist with such fierce independence. Number 8. They have zero interest in approval, yet lead naturally. Sigma females don't seek leadership, they embody it naturally. They have no desire for approval or praise, nor do they chase status. This detachment from the need for validation sets them apart in a world where most people are striving to be seen, acknowledged, and respected. They operate with a sense of inner certainty, following their own path and standards without trying to impress anyone. Ironically, it's this indifference to external validation that makes others gravitate toward them. People sense a strength that's untainted by ego, a clarity that's not clouded by the need to be liked or accepted. In environments where people are often competing to stand out, the Sigma female's calm independence is both baffling and magnetic. Unlike alphas, who are typically vocal, assertive, and interested in claiming leadership roles, the Sigma female avoids the spotlight. She's not interested in the traditional ladder of success, nor does she feel compelled to compete. This lack of attachment to status and power doesn't come from a lack of ambition. It comes from knowing her value without needing validation. She defines success on her own terms, and this freedom from expectation allows her to act with integrity, make difficult decisions, and stand firm in her beliefs. Others look to her for guidance not because she demands it, but because her self-assurance speaks louder than words. She's not trying to lead or influence, but her clarity and confidence draw people in naturally. This effortless presence is confusing to those who are used to leaders who actively seek recognition. In contrast, the Sigma female's quiet strength challenges the traditional idea of leadership and reveals that the power to inspire doesn't always come from the pursuit of approval. It often emerges when someone has truly freed themselves from it. Number 9. They see through manipulation instantly. Sigma females possess an uncanny ability to see through manipulation tactics with remarkable clarity. Whether it's emotional blackmail, guilt trips, or more subtle forms of coercion, they can identify these maneuvers almost instinctively. This skill sets them apart in social interactions where many might feel trapped or confused by manipulative behaviors. However, for the Sigma female, such tactics are transparent, and she responds with a calmness that often leaves manipulators perplexed. When she encounters manipulation, her reaction is anything but emotional. Rather than becoming defensive or engaging in a heated exchange, she remains composed and observant. This dispassionate approach can be unsettling for those who employ such tactics, as they often rely on stirring emotional responses to regain control or elicit a desired outcome. Instead, the Sigma female's serene demeanor effectively neutralizes their efforts, leaving them at a loss for how to proceed. Her refusal to react allows her to disengage from the situation, often leaving manipulators floundering without the anticipated response. This calmness is not a sign of weakness, it's a reflection of her self-awareness and confidence. She understands the dynamics at play and chooses not to let herself be drawn into the emotional chaos that manipulators thrive on. This ability to detach allows her to maintain her power and dignity, refusing to be swayed by tactics that others might find difficult to navigate. People often find her composed reaction confusing, interpreting it as indifference or lack of empathy. But the reality is that the Sigma female's emotional intelligence is at work. She recognizes the game being played and refuses to engage. This clarity gives her a strategic advantage, as she can choose when and how to respond, if at all. Her cool demeanor and skillful disengagement highlight a profound strength that confounds those who rely on manipulation, demonstrating that true power lies not in emotional entanglement, but in the ability to rise above it. Number 10. They don't compete, they create. Sigma females thrive in a realm where competition holds little relevance. Unlike many who are caught up in the race to outdo one another, they channel their energy into creation and innovation. For them, success isn't about defeating rivals or climbing a hierarchical ladder. It's about cultivating their own unique path and contributing something meaningful to the world. This distinction can be bewildering for those who are accustomed to viewing success through a competitive lens. When others scramble for recognition or attempt to outshine one another, the Sigma female quietly observes and often forges her own trail. She prioritizes her passions, ideas, and aspirations over the validation that comes from outperforming someone else. This focus on creation, rather than competition, leads her to explore avenues that may not even be on the radar of those around her. She is unbothered by the need for comparison. Instead, she creates a standard that reflects her individuality and vision. This absence of competitive energy can leave others feeling unsure about how to measure up to her. In a culture that often prizes rivalry and comparison, the Sigma female's approach challenges conventional norms. She doesn't fit neatly into the categories people are used to, and her indifference to competition creates a sense of disorientation for those who might seek to quantify their success against hers. Rather than striving to prove themselves superior, they may find themselves wondering how she remains so confident and fulfilled without engaging in the game. By not participating in the typical cycle of competition, the Sigma female inadvertently invites others to rethink their definitions of success and fulfillment. Her creativity becomes a quiet form of leadership, as she inspires others to focus on their own journeys rather than competing with one another. In this way, she not only cultivates her own potential, but also encourages those around her to break free from the confines of rivalry, fostering an environment where genuine creation and collaboration can flourish. In a world that often values conformity and competition, Sigma females stand out as enigmatic forces of nature. Their ability to remain nonchalant in the face of misunderstanding, to create rather than compete, and to communicate through their actions rather than words, showcases a unique strength and authenticity. They challenge the norms that dictate how we perceive relationships, leadership, and self-worth. Their very presence invites us to rethink our own approaches to life, encouraging a shift from seeking external validation to nurturing our own inner truth. Understanding the Sigma female is a journey that reveals the beauty of independence, the power of quiet strength, and the magic of living authentically. It's a reminder that true leadership often emerges from self-assuredness rather than the pursuit of power. So, the next time you encounter a Sigma female, remember that her unyielding spirit is not just a trait, it's an invitation for all of us to embrace our individuality and foster our own unique paths. If you found this exploration enlightening, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exceptional content that dives deep into the psyche of extraordinary individuals. Join our community as we unravel the mysteries of life, relationships, and personal growth. Your journey toward understanding and empowerment begins here. Let's embark on it together. Thanks for watching and bye.